Nobody wanted the dragon hatchling until he took it home. The corridor lights flicker as 3 men step out from behind the cargo crates and block my path. My heart pounds. There is nowhere to run. My hand tightens around the strap of my bag, and I already know I cannot fight all 3 of them alone. Then I hear a low sound behind me, a deep rumble that shakes the metal floor under my boots. The men freeze. Their eyes move past me to something much larger, something with claws and a crooked wing, standing between me and them like a wall of gray stone. That sound came from Ash. And to understand why a broken, unwanted creature would ever choose to stand there for me, I have to take you back 2 years, to the day nobody wanted him at all. My name is Daniel, and back then, I was just a station worker, trying to save enough credits to fix a leaking apartment. I had gone to the auction hall on Threshold Station looking for spare engine parts, nothing more. The hall was noisy and crowded, full of buyers shouting prices for glowing fish and singing lizards. Then the auctioneer reached a crate nobody wanted to look at. Inside it was a young dragon, the kind called a Vex, a species known across many worlds for being strong, fast, and dangerous. But this one was different. Its wing was bent the wrong way, heeled crooked because no one had ever cared enough to fix it. It could not fly. It would never grow to full size. The auctioneer said its bidding price was 1 single credit, and even then, nobody raised a hand. I do not fully know why I raised mine. Maybe it was the way the creature looked at the crowd, not with anger, but with quiet exhaustion, like it already expected to be forgotten. The room laughed when I bid. The auctioneer looked almost annoyed that someone actually wanted it. But the hammer came down, and just like that, the crooked-winged dragon was mine. The station doctor who examined him was not gentle with her words. She told me his lungs were likely weak on one side, that he would never reach full hunting weight, that in the wild, his own hatchmates would have left him behind before he grew old enough to leave the nest. She called him a liability. She said I had wasted my money. I did not argue with her, because at that point, I did not know if she was wrong. I named him Ash, because of the gray color of his scales, and because it felt like a name for something that had already survived a hard beginning. The first weeks together were quiet and difficult. He did not trust me. Whenever I came home, he pressed himself into the corner of my apartment and watched me with sharp, careful eyes, waiting for me to finally do what everyone else in his short life had done, which was give up on him. I did not have any guide on how to raise a dragon like this, because nobody had ever tried. So I did the only thing that made sense to me. I sat on the floor near him every evening, not touching him, just talking. I told him about my day. I complained about my broken apartment pipes. I ate my dinner sitting near his corner instead of at my table. Slowly, very slowly, the distance between us became smaller. It took almost 2 weeks before he finally ate from my hand, instead of waiting until I left the room. What the doctor never told me, maybe because she did not know it herself, is that a young Vex dragon is shaped by more than its body. Its mind grows based on how it is treated in its first months of life. A dragon raised only for fighting becomes exactly that, a weapon that follows orders and expects nothing more. But nobody had ever raised one with patience and care instead of commands, because nobody had ever wanted to try. Ash grew in ways that surprised even me. Within a few months, he learned to open the door latch just by watching me do it. He began carrying small items to me, a dropped tool, a fallen data chip, not because I trained him to, but because somewhere along the way, he decided that was something we did for each other now. He could not fly, and he never would, but he learned to climb and move, using his good wing for balance, in ways that made engineers on the station stop and stare in surprise. Loyalty in his kind is not something fixed at birth. It is a choice the animal keeps making, again and again, much like it is for people. And once Ash made that choice toward me, he never went back on it. 2 years passed. I took him with me almost everywhere by then, because he had grown too big and too smart to be left alone comfortably, and because honestly, I had grown used to having him near. That is how we ended up on Kesh 9, a small mining outpost known for having far more debt than law, where I had gone to collect supplies. And that is where I found myself trapped in a narrow corridor, 3 men blocking my only way out, my heart pounding, with nowhere left to run. The sound Ash made that day was unlike anything I had heard from him before. It was not a roar like the ones people imagine from old stories. It was lower, steady, and it did not stop. A deep vibration that I felt in my chest before my ears even understood it as sound. The 3 men did not wait to see what would happen next. They turned and disappeared down the corridor faster than I thought people could move. Ash did not chase them. He stayed exactly where he was, wings spread wide, standing guard until my hands stopped shaking and I could finally stand up straight again. The station medic who checked on me afterward asked if I wanted to report the event as a wildlife incident, as if Ash were some dangerous animal that needed to be controlled. I told her clearly that he was not wildlife. I told her he was family, and that what happened back there was simply him protecting someone he cared about. Word about that day spread quickly across the outpost, the way stories always do among people who deal in rare and valuable creatures. About a week later, a collector I had never met found me and offered an amount of credits large enough to clear every debt I had ever owed, twice over, just to take Ash off my hands. He called him a reformed runt with useful conditioning, like Ash was a broken machine that had somehow become valuable again. I did not raise my voice at him, though it took real effort not to. I simply told him that Ash was not conditioned and never had been. I told him Ash was not a runt, and he was not for sale. Not now, not ever. I told him that if he used that word about my dragon again, I would let Ash decide how the conversation ended. The collector left the station much faster than he arrived. Ash, who had been resting quietly beside me through the whole exchange, barely opened one eye, gave a small huff, and went right back to sleep. He was not worried at all. He already knew exactly how that moment was going to end. Even now, when I run into that same station doctor at the market, she still does not fully understand what Ash has become. By every chart and record she owns, he should not be capable of half the things he does. He should not have this much strength. He should not understand my moods well enough to know when I have had a hard day before I even say a single word. She once told me that medically, nothing about him ever really changed since the day I bought him. I told her she was right, because I never wanted to change him in the first place. I did not buy him hoping to fix some broken creature. I bought him because nobody else in that entire auction hall was willing to sit on the floor with him and wait. She did not have an answer for that, and most people do not, when they see the strange, stubborn kind of loyalty that grows between someone and a creature the rest of the world had already given up on. Nobody calculates the risk when they decide something matters. Nobody stops to measure whether a broken wing means a broken future. Sometimes a choice is made in only a few seconds, over a single credit at an auction, and after that, everything else falls into place around it. Ash still cannot fly, and he never will. But watching him rest in the sunlight near our home, calm, steady, and completely unbothered by the world, I understand something simple. He never needed wings to find where he belonged. He already found his place the moment somebody finally chose to keep him. And every single day since, he has chosen to stay.